23 Basque separatist leaders arrested in Spain. What will this mean for ETA and the Basque people? We have an exclusive insider's view. Hello and welcome to People and Power. I'm Summer El-Shahad. It's showdown time in Spain. The standoff between the Spanish authorities and the Basque separatist group ETA has reached red alert. The police have detained 23 top members of a party called Batasuna because of its links to ETA. Now, this is further inflaming the issue of Basque separatism, which will undoubtedly now dominate Spain's March elections. ETA has always wanted one thing: self-determination. They want their own country. The group was formed in 1959, and at that time it sought its goals through political means. But by 1968, this all changed. It resorted to violence and claimed its first life. And today, it's blamed for more than 800 deaths. In June, ETA called off a 15-month ceasefire. So the situation now with these arrests is as explosive as it could get. Our reporter Juliana Ruhfus gained access to the politicians of Batasuna to gauge their ambitions for this troubled region.
Lizarza's new mayor is not popular. Regina Otaola of Spain's Conservative Party, the Partido Popular, topped the poll after a bitter campaign in which the open wounds of Basque politics were laid bare. Otaola polled just 27 votes in a village of 600 inhabitants. That's because the majority of Lizarza's voters support local Basque parties, which campaigned for independence from Spain. Parties which were not allowed to stand.
In the next 4 years, our team's goal is to develop a genuine program that promotes freedom and erases the vestiges of the terrorist threat for good.
Otaola presents herself as a crusader against terrorism. In the Basque country, that means just one thing: a direct attack on the militant separatist group ETA. And in Lizarza, where separatist feelings run high, ETA are seen by many as martyrs. We arranged to meet two local inhabitants fiercely opposed to Otaola. José Antonio Mintegui was mayor of Lizarza until his party, Batasuna, was banned by the conservative government in 2003.
Do you think, even now, Batasuna would still win the elections here in Lizarza if you could stand?
Ha habido todos los años, en los 25 años, casi 30, pues bueno.
In the last 25 years, almost 30 years, they've always won with an absolute majority. Otaola isn't going to succeed. She's not from here, and on top of that, the people didn't vote for her. She's not from the village either. She's from the outside. She comes here with the police and no one dares speak to her. Then things can't work like they normally do in a village. If the party was legal, I would have been the most voted for.
Maide Aguirre Barrena is another banned candidate.
They say that Batasuna doesn't condemn ETA attacks, and that's why they should be banned.
With the recent political events here in Lizarza, what do you think is the government trying to do?
They want to stop us, make us illegal, turn us into terrorists, as they call us, and people see us as criminals. What are we? We are like everybody else. We are not criminals.
But for the government in Madrid, Batasuna is virtually inseparable from ETA. What is certain is that they share the same aims. ETA's goal is to establish an independent socialist Basque state across northern Spain and the southern France region. The organization wants the greater Basque country, Euskal Herria, to be home to nearly 3 million people who speak a language of their own and are proud of their distinct Basque culture. It was the oppression of both which led to ETA's foundation in 1959.
We had 3 stages. The first one was cultural. First, we wanted to get our language back. Speaking Basque at home was forbidden. We could go to jail for that. From a strictly cultural point of view, we said, basta, stop. We wanted to reclaim our personality. For the Spanish people and Spanish imperialism, this was a big mistake. They didn't tolerate this and started to beat us.
La réaction tout à fait disproportionnée
The enemy's reaction was totally disproportionate to ours. It was so violent, so hard, so tough, so, how could I say, unforgiving, that it quickly led to the third stage, armed struggle, and I was charged by my comrades to organize the first commandos.
Over the last 50 years, the Basque Country and Freedom Group, known as ETA, has targeted politicians, businessmen, judges, journalists, and even tourists as legitimate targets in their struggle. It has claimed responsibility for the death of more than 800 people, killed in attacks, bombings, and assassinations. Regina Otaola is under 24-hour protection against attacks on her life. Her office is over 30 kilometers away in the provincial parliament at San Sebastián.
Look. Come. In Lizarza, one day, they call fascists everyone that have an idea different from
their
idea, yes.
Does everybody who work here need to be careful about security?
The situation is very special, no? It's a special situation because young people have 25, 26, 28 years, but stay all the day with the bodyguards is very complicated, no? For us. They are a politics organization, no party, and we think, of party thinks, that Batasuna is a terrorist group. No?
And it's not only the separatists who make comparisons with Nazi Germany.
When ETA, Batasuna, if someday, I think no, but they have the power, that this country will be as the Alemania Nazi. As,
like Nazi Germany?
Yes. And we will be as Jews. We are a bit, no? We are a bit scoria, no? So,
it's a strong thing to say.
No, it's strong, but it's a reality. It's a reality. So why we have to live with two bodyguards every day? Why?
Batasuna is estimated to have represented 15% of Basque voters, with a far higher percentage in smaller towns and villages which struggle to preserve the traditional Basque way of life. Since Batasuna was banned, many of its supporters have switched to supporting another radical pro-independence party, Nationalist Basque Action, or ANV. We went to meet Otaola again in the nearby town of Oñati. She has come to a press conference to condemn local officials who are working with members of the ANV party. Otaola's conservatives are accusing ANV, just like Batasuna, of being an ETA front.
Your party was one of the main advocates of the banning of Batasuna. Do you also think that ANV should be banned as a political party here in the Basque Country?
ANV pienso que es una parte esencial de lo que es el terrorismo de ETA, es decir,
I think ANV plays an essential part in ETA's terrorism. They are the ones carrying the institutions, the politics, the main objectives and terrorism ideas. The same way as they have banned Nazi parties in Germany, it is logical that here ANV should be treated the same way.
Deep in the Basque heartland lays the city of Ondarroa. Its people have called a strike to protest the banning of ANV. Unai Rusunu, the local ANV candidate for mayor, agreed to show me round town.
Everybody is closed today.
Yes, the majority of the shops, especially small businesses. People have been affected by the political situation, so they choose to close.
Unai says he should be the mayor of Ondarroa, since ANV obtained the absolute majority in the elections.
What is the difference between your party and the other parties?
Bueno, nuestro partido se define como abertzale y de izquierdas. Es nacionalista, pero es de izquierdas.
Our party is defined as patriotic and on the left. It is nationalist, but of the left. The PNV is the nationalist party, but of the right. And here it's represented the Spanish extreme right, which is the party of Regina Otaola and José María Aznar.
Whilst demonstrators arrive, Unai explains the concept of contamination, which the Spanish government has used to purge separatists from the ballot paper. Any party with 6 or more candidates who had in the past belonged to a previously banned party, such as Batasuna, is now contaminated and therefore illegal. Are you contaminated?
Cuando la ultraderecha española dice...
When the Spanish extreme right wing says I'm contaminated, I consider this an adjective to be proud of.
Orgulloso, digamos.
They say that it's important to ban parties like ANV because you don't condemn ETA's violence. Do you condemn ETA's violence?
Yo no condeno, pero tampoco aplaudo. Yo creo que...
I don't condemn it, but I don't approve of it. I think one of ANV's aims is to put an end to some of the violence we've seen so much of. But not only ETA's violence, the Spanish and French state violence too.
Por parte de los estados español y francés.
I have always voted for ANV. As I have to vote, I will vote for ANV. And I will keep on voting for ANV. They are stealing the town hall from us, from this gentleman.
After the break, we hear from victims of ETA's armed struggle and why their founding father finally renounced violence.